So, Charlotte, do you remember when we used to have our yearly James Crabb Day celebrations?
I do. How could I forget?
So, what are some of the things we used to do on James Crabb Day?
Well, it was a lot of, wasn't it usually just a lot of reviewing?
Yeah.
Going back through the old episodes I guess the older we got, the more we laughed.
Yeah. I think it's about, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 4 hours of footage we would have watched the whole series from beginning to end.
Lord.
I could be a little off with that, but it's a lot.
I remember, what did your mom? I feel like we always had like pizza bread or something.
Yes.
Your mom would always make. It was very
I forgot
specific.
about that. I love that. Yeah.
It was awesome.
I still make that sometimes. It's really easy.
Man, I should make pizza bread.
Yeah. You just toast and put some tomato sauce on it, cheese. Now I have a toaster oven. I love the toaster oven because you don't have to heat up the whole oven just to do a couple like slices.
Toaster oven. Heard it here first. It's gonna be the next recipe trend.
And then we had the James Crabb Awards, which were
oh my gosh.
Basically, every character got an award. Every main character would get some award that was somehow applied to them. Like,
those were really, I was impressed by all of the awards you would come up with.
The creativity.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember some of them. Like,
I wish I could. I wonder if I, by chance, have some of them here handy. I can pull them up. Probably not. It would be things like, oh my gosh, I do. Let's see what comes up. We've got Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Script Ideas, Best Bad Guy, Best Duo, Best Animal.
Best Animal? Do you have who won?
Yes, so I do. So guess who won Best Animal?
It should be Peter Lee.
Yes, it was Peter Lee.
Okay, good.
The cat who played Lakutza, who put up with our shenanigans. And, of course, among the animals, the only one who was still alive by the time we were giving out the awards to accept the award.
That's right. Did we always... I feel like we always visited the graveyard.
The grave, yeah. I forgot about that, too. We did. We'd go to the memorial I made, and it had, like, a scroll inside, and that scroll is still there. Oh, my word. It's probably ruined. It can't be read anymore.
The test of... Well, kind of, I guess.
Let's see. In 2008... Paul Craig won Most Suspenseful Line or Action when he said, and that's exactly what is going to happen to you, James Crabb. And Charlotte Ferris won the Most Ironic Line or Action. Oh, Abby, will you ever change?
Oh, man. Yep. Remember that one.
We had Most Emotional, Most Creative, Most Famous, Most Cute. Most choreographed, and the random James Crabb Award, which went to the Hermit Crabs.
Well, naturally.
So, amazing. James Crabb was an institution for quite some time, and until it wasn't anymore. And today we're going to be talking about Season 3, Episode 2, perhaps the best episode of the series, Bob's Return. Yes. I am Mark Gross.
I'm Charlotte Ferris.
And this is Scene by Scene. So, we open this episode with James and Avery Bond reading together on the sofa, and James Bond is especially impressed by the Dodge in his car magazine. This, of course, is a reflection of my own personal tastes in cars. Suddenly, the lights go out, and we hear an ominous line, "My name is Bob, not Zach." So, James goes to get the gun.
Good Lord.
Suddenly, it gets extremely, unexplicitly darker. Like, we go from the lights clearly turning off to it suddenly being totally pitch black because I was covering the camera with my hand, probably.
Is that what?
Yeah.
I should have done.
And we hear Lakutza shouting for her mother, who is, of course, the character Avery.
Some
and
tragic,
struggling. Yes,
screaming.
I know.
Like, goodness, she's such a great actress.
I know. And I remember we showed this to your mom, and she was like really disturbed by the sort of, I don't know, sincerity of how those lines sounded, I guess.
Yeah, that checks out.
So anyway, the lights suddenly come back on, and James Bond finds Lakatsa crushed under some pillows. Poor Peterly, always putting up with everything. And she says that someone kidnapped her mother. Not quite sure.
Tears running down her face, which was also poor cat.
Real tears. I hope she was adopted, because I'm not quite sure how this whole relationship is working, but but anyway.
Looking back, it's confusing.
Especially, it doesn't get brought up in this episode, but the things with like bad guys shouting like, you killed my brother, and this is my cousin, and my identical twin, and all sorts of stuff like that. Everybody
had to be related by blood for some reason.
It just made it that much more epic.
It did. Bloodlines.
So then we have a boring discussion scene with a bunch of ad-libs, dialogue that should have been planned out better. Doesn't really make sense. Abby Dumbfish getting yelled at for not knowing anything about anything, and James Bond noting very seriously that normally when Avery wants to go somewhere, she can do it by herself and doesn't need to be kidnapped. So yeah, something good to know about her personality.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean,
we were early feminists.
That's right.
Yep.
Feminism in its early stages in 2005.
I don't even need to be kidnapped to leave the house.
There you go. It's a good lesson, and that is the moral of the episode.
Yep.
But to be fair, maybe Bob just didn't know that, and it was just a terrible misunderstanding.
Yes, we'll give the benefit of the doubt.
So they all go to save Avery. Meanwhile, Bob bursts into his apartment with yellow paint and teddy bear wallpaper, and that was Pat's room. But when we were little, it was like the nursery. And my dad told my mom if she insisted he put up this wallpaper, it was never going to come down until my brother or I were old enough to do it ourselves. And it ended up being true.
Oh, my word. I never realized that.
So that's why we had teddy bear wallpaper until Pat was like, I don't know, 15, 13, decided he wanted to get rid of it. I think it was something, maybe a little younger than 16, but probably a little younger. But
at that point, it was too sentimental, you know. Man.
So Bob says, you said my name is Zach, but it's Bob. My name is Bob, not Zach. And he throws Avery to the ground, and she says, I never called you Zach. I don't even know you that well. Have to be precise, because she did technically meet him once before, but
so,
I have to say, in all of media, I think this is my favorite bad guy motivation. He just wants to kill someone because they messed up his name.
Yep, wholeheartedly agree. This is he just wants to be seen for who he is.
I mean, it's really Avery who's the bad guy here, if you think about it.
Yeah, really. No
Talk
heroes
about
in this story.
Subversive storytelling and hidden messages.
Yeah. Really ahead of our time.
And this is, of course, why James Crabb continues to be so popular worldwide today.
Yes. Lasting impact.
So, Avery reaches for the phone. Bob hits it with his sword before falling into a narcoleptic sleep. Avery looks at the camera, breaks the fourth wall, and says, boy, this Bob guy is really weird. And I mentioned your mom seeing this episode. I remember here she laughed and she said, "Oh, this is like the first episode. That's really funny and entertaining."
Oh man, my mom did not hold back.
I think by this
really
time, yeah, this is true. But I think by this time we weren't taking it quite so seriously. Like with our early episodes, we definitely were like, "Oh, this is scary. This is serious." And
we were maybe in. Yeah, we're maybe in on the joke at this point.
I think so too.
Maybe.
So Avery goes and dials the phone, but it doesn't work. And Bob wakes up and slowly hits it with his sword so as not to injure Charlotte the actress.
So gingerly, yep.
Which was very polite of him.
Yeah.
Off
screen it was less of an issue, but
I mean, it's better when the actor playing James Crabb, the Hermit Crab, pinched you that one time. Do you remember that?
How could I forget? Onset injuries,
Working with animals can be very dangerous.
Yeah.
So we have a jump cut. Suddenly, Avery is plugged into a strange-looking machine that appears to be made of a lantern, walkie-talkies, a phone, a portable TV, and a remote control car. Bob says, "You will be the one to power my machine." Avery asks, "Why can't you just use batteries?" Bob says, "Because they're not included." And he tries to cut off her ponytail.
Oh, good Lord.
That part I don't think was rehearsed.
I doubt it. Still one of my favorite lines, I think.
and that one was clever. That was clever comedy too.
There you go.
We weren't taking it too seriously anymore.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of the few that I can watch and genuinely like enjoy and not have to be sort of in on the joke. Like, yeah. Like, I feel like you can only really enjoy the other ones because we made them.
We were doing them,
like,
yeah.
Yeah. But this one I could see being kind of entertaining.
Yeah. There are some jokes that actually kind of land. So Bob plugs her into the machine. You can see it's not the wire's not actually plugged into the TV. He makes a cute little ding error sound, and then he shouts in his ugliest voice, "Shoot, it doesn't work. I'm going to go to the store and get batteries." I don't even know how he did that voice. It doesn't work. Like,
I can't do it.
It was very specific.
Special talents.
Yeah.
He warns Avery not to move or she's dead meat, like this, and then he hisses at her. You can tell Charlotte and I behind the camera are like giggling. Yep. That was not rehearsed, the hissing.
Nope.
You can see the camera kind of shake a little as I laughed.
Very little of this feels scripted. Which is fine.
Yeah. So Avery grabs the phone. Now it suddenly works, and she dials 569-1749. I looked at it to see what the number actually was. So it suddenly works. Mm-hmm. She calls James Crabb to her apartment in downtown, which
somewhere in downtown.
Not sure. So I'm not sure if like you were supposed to just say to this apartment downtown, or if I told you to say the name of the town was downtown, because like I would make up funny town names and stuff. So I'm not sure about that. But anyway.
Maybe we're in downtown.
And so we come to the last scene. James Bond, the Hermit Crabs, and Peter Seinfeld break in. James Crabb walks away from his tiny little gun that couldn't hurt anyone and explains that Bob was brought back to life by Bull Boy, and they know where Bull Boy is, but that was a mistake. He meant to say where Bob is.
Okay, thank you for clarifying, because I was confused and thought I missed something.
There's some brilliant writing and acting there for sure. Peter Seinfeld, he looks suspiciously like Bob, I must say, due to the actor shortage. Right? Well, Peter Seinfeld is a twin to Chop Arms.
Oh, yes.
And in the reboot, I think Chop Arms is somehow, I'm not sure, there's some weird relation probably, but anyway.
I just assume at this point. But yeah, they saw him at the hardware store, and we see that Bob kills himself by hammering a pen onto a piece of paper with his gun, and it accidentally discharges into his gut, and he dies. So, yeah, there you go. Very epic death for Bob. So
was that actually the end of Bob? I forget.
I think until the reboot. I'm not sure he came back in our reunion movie.
Okay, so that truly was the end of Bob.
I could be missing something,
for the most
but
part.
I don't think so. Okay. I vaguely remember an off-screen "My name is Bob, not Zach" in the series finale, but he certainly doesn't have a full-blown appearance.
Episode.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's fitting. It makes sense.
So, does this episode stand the test of time?
I think it depends. I definitely agree that it's one of the strongest early James Crabb episodes. I was watching this with my husband last night, and we were both laughing. So,
good. So he wasn't bored out of his mind. I guess what I said about it being watchable for someone who wasn't involved actually is true.
Exactly. So it's you don't have to have been acting in it to find it fun.
And that's really saying something for our earliest films.
Yeah.
Even on All Hallows Eve doesn't always reach that level.
Yeah. I don't know. First one. Well, I don't know. Third one was pretty well. Anyway. Story for another time.
Yeah. This has been Scene by Scene. Thanks for listening. Scene by Scene is produced by GK Music and Magic Voice Records.